Hello viewers, I'm SB and welcome back to Total War Warhammer 2. We have some vengeance on our minds. These rats I was gonna say these rats have launched a plague in our city and they're killing our citizens, but honestly, mostly it's their city, and it's probably mostly their citizens still. So, I don't know, this seems like a crazy thing to do. It's spiteful, I'll give them that, and that's very much in character. So, I'm wondering if maybe we're being a little too afraid of the plague. Because all of our goals over in this area do lie to the east. I'm thinking maybe we could just stay away from Karagorud and continue to move through the pass. We have to guess a little bit which settlements are still controlled by Clan Moors. I mean, that one, almost certainly. And then the question is whether this is 5 settlements controlled by one Skaven player or 1 and 4. Because I think this is close enough to Clan Moors' seat of power that this could be them. I think I want to go over here and find out. I considered hiring a hero to have him run over and do that, but I think we're going to find out the way Tiktaq'to likes to find out, by just running at it at full speed while screaming. So I'm definitely not taking a movement path that will require us to go through Plague City. We're just going to stay away from it. We're just going to stay all the way over here. Did we... Okay, it doesn't look to me like we caught anything. Remember, we have a couple of turns left until we can hit the Rite of Tsunki again, because when you use a rite, it puts all your other rites on cooldown for a moment. I think we got good value out of that Rite of Ferocity. Let's have this guy come around and go check. I mean, I'm almost certain that Misty Mountain is controlled by Clan Moors, but we can be certain. We can be all the way certain. And then this guy's just gonna come down here and see what life is like down in the land of the Lore Masters. This is the starting place for that High Elf faction, so... Okay, they still control it, and actually that is Itza, right there. So their capital is all the way down... man, I don't know the map that well. Here somewhere? So if they're pushing out all the way to the eastern coast, they're doing pretty well in this area. How are we... Okay. Not big fans, actually. Turns out it is not the case that all lizard men pull together. Alright, well, I don't really need them to be. I'm not too worried about it. Okay, so these guys. The only danger that this totally shredded force could pose to us at this point is if they were to get over to some place that wasn't walled. Even then, they might not be able to take it. But my point here is that we can head off all the danger entirely by just using our march to wrap around this side. If they want to run away from us, let's make them run back toward the north, where things are more defended. And also, Yarok could use a little bit of recovery time, so it doesn't hurt us too much to just hang out in friendly territory. Alright, you are just about done recruiting your thing, and then, we're going to go check Sartosa with him. I don't know what else there would be to do. We do still have to worry about the orcs here. We're actually positive approval with them. Okay, yeah, they didn't like Numas. They don't particularly care for the Blooded Axe tribe. We have had a bunch of common foes, I guess. They don't like Clan Moors either. Orcs and Skaven do not get along. Okay, well then I am less concerned about them suddenly declaring war on us. Our northern border might be relatively safe. Safe enough to leave it undefended for the moment. So, we have quite a lot of money. What are we going to do with all this money? Well, probably getting Qatar leveled up and putting walls around it is probably a pretty high priority, because we do not have this area settled at all. And then we need to go and check out what is going on everywhere else. Let's see, we're constructing our geomantic thing here. And we're kind of waiting on a bunch of stuff to finish upgrading. We're pretty close to being done with population here. How's the coast? Are we all walled up on the coast now? Okay, this province is completely walled. This province is not yet completely walled. And Phyrus is actually in a location where it's pretty attackable. There are a lot of cliffs on this island, but unfortunately the northwestern part is a beach that you can land on. So those walls have to get completed for sure. Okay, that's not too bad. Not a very exciting turn just yet. I'm hoping that... things are going to heat up once we're over here. So, let's talk about objectives really quickly. As far as the short campaign objectives go, we're doing pretty well. We haven't really made any more progress on this land thing, but we're moving in the direction of making progress on that land thing. Clan Moors and the Pirates of Sartosa are the only factions that we have yet to take out. And then we still have to either directly control or use vassals and military alliances to effectively control the 8 of these Great World cities. And it's worth noting that Lamia is on the list. We're not doing very well on this right now. Sartosa's on there, and we have to take that to win anyway. If we also got Lamia... Oh, Skavenblight is actually one of them. We have to take Skavenblight to win as well. Maybe we end up in control of Maragliano, or I will have to see how things go. These guys... they don't love us. I don't know. My point was, while we're over here, maybe we could consider taking over Lamia. The Silver Host is just a minor vampire faction. Probably nobody would miss them or be upset with us for declaring war on them. I think we could end up in a pretty good spot. And then there's probably there are enough capitals like here that we could stay in the southeastern corner of the world and pull off our short campaign victory. At least I'm hoping. I have no idea what these High Elves are doing. They're at war with that Vampire Coast faction, it looks like, so it might be that they are headed up to raid. Unfortunately, it seems like the High Elves and the Lizardmen having control of the eastern shore of Lustria is not necessarily going to keep us any safer, because they don't like us at all. We got too powerful before we met them. They regard us as a threat. I mean, they're right to do so. And the fact that they're right to do so is also the same reason that we don't really have to be too worried about the fact that they're not going to be friends with us, because if they sail over here, we'll just crush them. I'm not saying I would go to Lustria and finish the job because, you know, may we never set foot in that hell continent again, but we can certainly crush them on our shores and make some money off of it. Probably High Elf parts sell pretty well. And cook pretty well. It's like bringing over, it's like them bringing a buffet over on their ships, except the buffet is rich. That doesn't really make a lot of sense. It's not a good metaphor. But you get what I'm saying. Carrick Zorn is... Oh, Carrick Zorn is those dwarves that are in the mountains over here, right? Yeah, okay, so... It seems like everybody down in our little southeastern corner is at war with everybody else. We have one ally in the region, and unfortunately she doesn't seem to be super powerful. We'll have to see whether it is worth maintaining that friendship or not. If she gets in our way on the Lamia thing, I might double-cross her. Listen, it's not that I don't value friendship and loyalty. I'm just saying I have this checklist, and it's far more important than any living being. Or unliving being, I guess. She's like a mummy, right? A lot of the Tomb Kings are just straight skeletons, but... I guess if you're going to put a female-coded character in your video game, you have to make them roughly female-shaped. I don't think we put up with female skeletons. How's a gamer supposed to be super gross about that? So she has to be a mummy because she has to have enough body left to look like a lady. Apparently the Stuff Snatchers have a lot of stuff to do on their turn. Okay, here we go. Sanaut has gained an astronomer. Oh, okay. Our new Saurus guy now has poison attacks. I don't know what's going on. Apparently all of the lizard men from the rest of the world are taking pilgrimages over to our land and joining up. Because they hear that we're the ones who are getting to eat the most. Everybody wants to eat. Alright, so we're just going to run through Granite Massif as quickly as possible. I'm hoping to not provoke Clan Arachnos into a thing before we're ready to deal with them. How bad was that? How much did they hate that? Trespasses -10. Okay, we were already very, very unfriendly. Oh well. If they come after us, we'll deal. Something tells me we'll be alright. So we should probably just go ahead and sail all the way down to the southern part of the continent here. I just want a better picture of what's going on. It seems like it's and the Lore Masters have things pretty much locked down. You guys are doing a really good job of moving exactly far enough. Oh no, I think they screwed up. I think we actually get attack range on them here. Unfortunately, I think they can probably retreat from us in that stance. Yeah, they totally can. That's just very annoying. Alright, we'll just stay right behind him. Again, next turn we can Rite of Tsunki. So they're gonna regret this. And I think this is the turn that we just head out and try to get in some trouble. So, we have a couple of concerns here with this guy. Number one is that he, as a lord, is probably a lot less powerful than our current lords. So as much as I do love the blue line skills, I'm wondering if we should maybe go directly into army buff stuff and try to strengthen his army to make up for the fact that he's not going to be able to carry very much. I guess Tiktaq'to's not actually that good of a fighter himself either. I'm so used to our legendary lord being a good fighter that I think of Tiktaq'to's army success as partially because of him, but it's really not. It's really the rocks. That said, I think we're going to go ahead and redline anyway. Like, we have a bunch of Saurus warriors, and we have a bunch of Saurus units, and Proud Warrior is actually like a pretty good skill. Yeah, I think we'll redline with this guy first. Let's buff these units up. And then I think we're just going to grab the 2 units of Blessed Warriors and that Regiment of Renown, because I think we're leaving friendly territory right now. Let's go north and see what Sartosa looks like. We can maybe go out there and grab that island real quick. So Sartosa has no army currently stationed in it. That's interesting. It's extremely built up. And it has a garrison of, a Necrofex Colossus, a mortar, a couple of gunnery mobs. So these are those these are those giant crab monsters I was talking about that have the handgunners on their backs, or the hand cannon guys on their backs. Some Mourngols who probably won't be a huge problem for us. They're probably pretty good at fighting Sauruses, but they're also remarkably easy to kill if you can just focus on them. Gunnery mob with bombs, gunnery mob with rifles. That's a little dangerous. Deck gunners are like super long range, almost sniper zombies. This is actually a garrison that I'm a little worried about. Alright, well let's head over in the direction of that lootable. See if we can maybe get a buff off of it. Sometimes you search a wreck and you get a little event that gives you a significant combat buff. Maybe we can use that to take Sartosa. So how's stuff going with these dwarves? They look pretty mad. Oh, actually, though, we're starting to curry favor with them. I wonder if they would take... Probably not. We're still at minus 18. They probably won't give us a non-aggression pact yet. But as that number keeps adjusting upward, it would be super good to have friendly relationship with the main dwarf faction. I think that's really important for us. So let's make sure we keep an eye on that. Seize our opportunity if we can, and then we're out of stuff to do again. What do we want to do with 2,400 gold? Hey, there are definitely some buildings that still need to get built. We do need to rebuild our skink building in this region if we want to have access to salamander recruitment here. So that's probably a good thing to do with it, and then we'll save a little bit. Because you got to remember, the double move is not free. This'll leave us with enough gold to perform the double move next turn. Alright, are we... It moves up to map mode at a level of zoom that is a little bit too low for my taste. Are we doing alright in our provinces here? The Ash River is negative on approval. It's fine. It'll be fine. Once we get this expanded a little bit, we'll build some public order buildings. Everything's going to be okay. And here, of course, we're in Skaven Hell. I guess we can turn off taxation, since there's only 32 gold per turn coming in anyway. Save us a little bit of time. That said, because the structure here is walled, when the rebellion army spawns upon us hitting negative 100 approval, we'll have some time. They won't be able to attack the city right away. They'll have to build siege towers and stuff. So we'll have time for somebody to move back into position and put them away. And actually, fighting rebellion armies can be a really good way to make some money in the short term. You can see the cost of running additional armies just goes up and up and up and up. So there is a Skaven clan over here that is doing alright, it looks like. It seems like the AI is just really bad at dealing with Skaven, because they don't understand how the Skaven settling system works. Also, I hate to say it, but I don't really feel like we've seen any huge difference in the AI from previous campaigns. I guess that in itself is kind of a success for whatever changes they made, because I know that they removed some of the free public order and stuff that the AI was getting on higher levels. So if the AI is just keeping pace with its old position without the buffs, I suppose that's good enough. And that makes it a lot more possible for you to do things like use public order issues against them. The fact that they were getting a bunch of free public order made it infeasible to use the agents that lower public order to try to, like, spawn rebellions to harass them with or anything. That's probably more possible now. I don't know. I'm not really feeling a difference, but probably there's a difference. So if it turns out that this settlement that we think might be Clan Moore's other settlement actually is, then we're going to leave them with just control of the Misty Mountains. And the dwarves have so many armies in that area. What I was about to say is the dwarves have so many armies in that area that probably they'll just deal with it, right? But they do actually seem to be very bad at figuring out where the Skaven are, so we might have to go up there and fix it ourselves. If we do, we'll totally just burn the Misty Mountain settlement. I have no interest in controlling a tiny corner of a province up in Dwarfland. We'll just let them have that. Because we'd have to use one settlement building slot to build a defensive structure in order to keep it in case anybody should happen to wander by, and then another one for public order, and like we wouldn't actually get a lot of value out of owning it. Yeah, unfortunately we have... Oh, hey, they tried to sneak past us on the beast paths and failed miserably. I think we can probably just auto-resolve that. Let's see. You replenish pretty slowly. Yeah, I guess let's take the tiny amount of replenishment instead of the tiny amount of XP. Neither one of these things matters terribly much. Okay, so that's the end of that faction of Beastmen, and that means that we could send Yarick up to help with Sartosa, maybe. He's not in a great position to actually reach that, but we do have the double move available. And the Sword of Cain changes hands yet again. Alright. Let's go find out. Not only is it actually a Clan Moore settlement, but it's a low-level settlement with no garrison buildings, and the garrison has been apparently torn up by some kind of conflict. So this is easy enough to take over. And I think we're actually going to occupy this one, because this is in the same province as Lamia. Okay, that's actually a pretty okay piece of armor. Oof, those guys really took off. You know, I'm not even 100% certain if using our movement right here would let Tiktaq'to move again. It should, but it might not work that way because you lose all of your movement when you occupy a settlement. And there might be some weirdness in the code with the way that's handled that would remove all of our movement for the rest of the turn. So what do we want to do with our skill points here? I know we were taking Gifts of the Jungle, but we're healing pretty well here. Yeah, I do think we still want Foe Seeker. Let's go ahead and just grab Predatory Fighter now. The next time we take enough damage that we don't heal in a single turn, we'll just grab the next point of the replenishment buff. That's how we'll dial it in. Stick to the plan with you, just make you better at ground fighting in case you should ever have to ground fight, and then... We finished Flock of Doom. So we could get Pan's Impenetrable Pelt. I do like the speed buff on this. Like, obviously, physical resist is good, but being able to give a significant number of units a big speed buff, especially Sauruses who are very slow-moving, could be really good for us. And this is a pretty good spell, too. It's very expensive. I think we're gonna level this up the rest of the way because I want the cost reduction on that. Okay, so now we know Misty Mountain is the only thing they have left. They're running running all of their remaining armies over to play defense in that area, and we can hope that the dwarves finish them off. Who has unassigned skill points? Yarrick. Yarrick leveled up off of fighting those dudes. Okay, well, we are definitely, at this moment, very invested in lowering our upkeep. And yeah, let's send him over in the direction of Sartosa. We can take out Sartosa with the non-Tiktaq'to armies. Apparently this area is far enough away from land that it counts as deep sea, so we're going to take a little bit of attrition here. How far can we move? Okay, apparently we're almost as far out as we can be without taking that deep water attrition. Well, the plan could be full sail, hit the movement right. I would like to use the movement right to actually chase something that we could catch, though. It feels like a little bit of a waste to use it now. I think I'm just going to sail out. We'll just sail out. We'll eat a turn of deep sea attrition, and we'll come back and heal up afterward. Sometimes these things are really, really valuable, though. Okay, Uldamorin can see the southernmost area here. So now the question is, do we have him go and scout inland some more? Like, how much do we want more information? And how much do we want him to just come back and serve as a map action hero near our armies? I don't really know that we need to know what's going on in the heart of the continent. An eye on what's happening on the coast, the part of it that could potentially affect us, is probably good enough. Let's have him come back and he can fight enemy agents around our armies and stuff. That can be a very useful thing to have. It's incredibly annoying to have good characters get assassinated. So let's see. He could run out here and just harass these dudes. If I wanted to get over to Misty Mountain, we have to run through all these mountain paths. Well, I guess that's what I'm doing. Unfortunately, our heroes can reveal enemy settlements, Skaven settlements to us, but I don't think we can have him reveal them to everyone in the area. Like, I would really love it if I could, like, point the dwarves in this direction. Maybe they'll figure it out on their own. I think we're not going to use the movement right this turn. Let's hold on to it until popping it will allow me to catch somebody. Like, there's no way I have enough movement for that. But maybe next turn we can catch them. So that means we actually have quite a bit of money to play with. The gold mine is almost finished. It's probably just continuing to buy upgrades to financial buildings where we can, right? And making sure that we're expanding our recruiting ability. I guess one thing we don't have yet is a Cold One cave, and some of the Cold One units would actually be useful. I feel like we're using our flyers for a lot of the things that you would use Cold Ones for, but I talked a little bit about why it might be valuable to have a bunch of actual feet on the ground. Let's go ahead and do that. And then, is there anywhere that we could build like something really cheap and helpful? We certainly don't need a public order structure here anymore. Probably the right thing to do is just to hold on to it. So we could pay 1,500 for a little bit of extra money per turn, but I want to make sure that we have the 2,500 to pop our movement right, in case we want to next turn. So the Saurus Lord is just killing time until Yarrick shows up, basically. I guess the amount of money we're going to make off of... Well, the amount of money we'll probably make off of the thing we're going to search in the sea will mean that I didn't need to hold on to money, but it's also possible to... It's possible to loot those and not get a ton of cash. Sometimes they just give you, like, a magic item or something. Interesting. The Pirates of Sartosa have gone to war with Tilia. The reason that's interesting is that I believe it is the case that the faction in the top left declared on the faction on the bottom right. So if the Pirates of Sartosa are declaring war on Tilia, I would expect them to actually... I would expect that to mean that they actually have troops near Tilia. Which is close enough to Sartosa itself that we might have to fight them. Then again, we're getting declared on by Norskins and stuff. Maybe I shouldn't... Maybe I shouldn't assume that the pirates would only declare war if it actually makes sense to do so. We have a lot of evidence that that is not how they work. Yeah, I guess we don't need to assume anything. It's going to be probably 2 or 3 turns of movement before Yarek's over there and ready to contribute, so we can scout pretty thoroughly, I think. And I'm a little surprised that we haven't seen Chaos really show up. I am not looking forward to that. But at some point during this campaign, the forces of Chaos are going to show up and just start trying to wreck the place, and we are in a position to not have to deal with most of it. But unfortunately, only most of it. Like, some of it is going to be a problem for us, and then also, once they spawn, one of our campaign objectives is to make sure that their lord gets wounded. We might be able to rely on the AI factions in the north to do that for us, but we've not had good luck with that in the past. Well, if we can make good enough friends with the dwarves, maybe they'll let us travel north through their land. We can go up there and just stomp Archaon into the dirt ourselves. Okay, let's start with this. Make sure you get out of full sail mode. From the crow's nest come shouts that broken masts can be seen piercing the ocean's surface. The lookout has spotted a sunken ship lying in the waters among some distant shoals. Located far from an inhabited shoreline or any known sailing routes, it has the markings of a pirate galleon. A mysterious sunken pirate ship in this location cannot be here without good reason, and perhaps that reason involves treasure. Okay, I think we could probably defeat a foe in battle. I know our army's a little torn up from the attrition, but we're pretty numerous. So we see here a couple of those units of hand cannons. We got to be careful of those. The flyers do not do well with them. And they have a rotting leviathan, which is a huge crab monster that is going to be a little bit of a problem for us. I guess we have Sauruses with spears and stuff. We'll figure it out. And this banner gives a debuff to enemy flying units. It does actually nothing. I don't know. You hold it. Okay, we should be able to take these guys, and then we can, like, fall back to Phyrus to replenish a little bit. We should... I don't think I made sure that our Saurus Lord here had reasonable followers equipped, but we should make sure that he has one of the casualty replenishment rate guys, and so probably it's a good idea for him to fall back to friendly territory anyway, so that we can make sure he's actually set up for campaigning. Yeah, the salamanders do good damage versus large. So they can help with the crab. It might be the case that the Saurus Old Blood ends up, like, kind of fighting the crab solo. We just rely on his toughness while we blow it up with salamanders. I think we can try to gamble for a slightly better outcome here. We have a lot of good uses for Winds of Magic. Okay, there we go. It turned green, which means the number is supposed to go up, but then it sure did take its sweet time. Okay, Lord Croak, you just start way up front here. I'm going to try to keep our Feral Stegodon back a little bit, actually. No, you know what? They don't really have any super dangerous anti-large stuff. Try to keep them away from the Rotting Leviathan. Yeah, they have pole arms, but it's the worst kind of pole arms. We're probably okay. The question is, what do we want to do with the flyers? Do we want to... Here's what I'm going to do. We're going to spawn the flyers all way out to the sides, and I'm not going to directly engage, but I'm going to fly around the back of their formation and see if they respond to that at all. We might be able to get them to split up, which would make it a lot easier to kill the smaller groups individually. Try to make sure that the Sauruses are in good defensive positions. Then it kind of doesn't matter where everybody else is. We're going to have lots and lots of time to reposition as they approach. Keep the skinks behind everybody. Okay. Oh, camera suddenly turns the, or the mouse suddenly turns the camera. Okay. Just get behind them and see how they react to that. The range on these hand cannon guys is pretty short. I'm not too worried about us getting grabbed. And if they let us just fly past them without turning at all, then yeah, this is. I'm gonna do something here. We're gonna try to get something done. Because if we can get in on them before they do any damage to us, obviously that'll solve that problem. They seem to be thinking about it now. Okay, most of that landed. Let's see, the hand cannon mob on this side is turning around. We gotta decide now, do we want to try to move forward while we're still outside of their cone and drop on them, or do we want to have this group of fire leech guys just fall back entirely? I think let's have them run across. They don't move nearly as quickly as we do, so I'm not worried about them. Not worried about them keeping pace and still getting to shoot at us, and we can help knock these guys out quickly. Man, their pistols don't really do a lot of damage, but it's enough shots, it adds up. Oh, that's the hand cannons. Keep moving. Keep moving. Also, how are those hand cannon guys still up? They really, really shouldn't be. Big crab guys getting close. Let's have. Oh, I should be hitting this. Remember, we have Lord Croak's extremely good buffs available here. Am I going to go for a big deliverance of Itza? Probably not, right? They're not grouped together as tightly as I want. Probably we're better off just going for a large number of small explosions. I think we can try to just predict how far ahead of them we need to aim. Just lead them here. Okay, there we go. Now they're down. Trying to make sure that we're staying away from the other hand cannon group. But that was a pretty good hit. Got the chameleon skinks hopefully throwing out that poison. Let's have these guys march up and meet the foe. It looks like the dinosaur's pretty safe to be on this side as well. I don't want to put these guys actually in front of the salamanders. I want to try to minimize the amount of friendly fire we take from these salamanders. But we definitely need to be over here. I'm going to go for a slightly larger explosion on this side. I really want to make sure we get as many of these depth guard as possible. Okay, these guys are handling it. They're getting their business done. On actually go off. That's pretty good. That's a pretty good outcome. Go get him. Okay. He got, he felt that. That's for sure. I was kind of hoping he was going to get it to stop its charge a little bit further back. Let's have the salamanders fall back some. I was hoping to be able to just sit in place. Alright, you know what? I'm going to hurl a couple of units of spears in here. I think probably what's going to happen mostly is that they will keep it in place while getting blown up by our own troops. That's not totally ideal, but I do think it is better than the alternative of that thing getting to rampage through the salamanders. Okay, it's panicking at least. Lord Croak, you could back up a little bit. That would be okay. Try to do this in a place where it doesn't harm any of our own units. Salamanders really don't like to fall back when they feel like they should be engaged in battle. Alright, we're gonna definitely sustain some friendly fire here. Getting rid of these handgunners is a high priority, though. I think we probably have the dinosaur just run straight through. We have a couple units of backup skinks over here just in case stuff gets out of control, but I think stuff's pretty under control. Actually, this would probably be a pretty good time. How far away can we cast this? I'm wondering if we want to put it over here to lessen the damage from the salamander blows, or over here to lessen the damage from the rock drops. I think over here is probably a little better, because I'm not super accurate with these things. Let's try to wrap this up quickly. Dinosaur's doing fine work over there. The crab's actually completely panicked. I'm actually going to rock drop these guys real quick. Having a little bit of trouble navigating the sky right now. Yeah, that's pretty good. Okay, that's lightened them all up. Salamanders are doing their thing. You know, we're not really taking that much damage. This is okay. Turn on the depth guard. Okay, I think this is about resolved then. Let's have Lord Croak get over here and blow somebody up. Use small, precise explosions. Their lord is an issue, I guess. Should probably have somebody attacking their lord. What's that big crab doing? Okay, big crab's not an issue. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to have all of the flyers disengage, because we've seen what these pirate lords can do to flying units. Everybody else, go fight that guy. Well, I'll give her this. She's no coward. Oh, she's casting cool ocean magic on us. That was actually pretty effective. Hey, Lord Croak, you want to maybe help her along here? Okay, she started to realize the situation. I hit a couple of skinks with it. It wasn't that bad. I heard the collective sound of everybody drawing in their breath sharply there. Calm down, it wasn't that bad. We only killed a few of them. I am curious to see exactly like how dangerous a leveled up Saurus Old Blood is. I don't feel like I have a good sense of how good at killing lizardmen characters are. I know that the Old Bloods are tough as hell. We've definitely had fights in our other campaigns where it took us like several minutes to finish off the lone Saurus Old Blood at the end of the battle. But I'm curious if they're a little bit better at killing than the rest of the Saurus units are. Wasn't really expecting it to take that long to load us out. Okay, yeah, definitely give me the replenishment. So 1,500 gold from the battle. Yep, plus no actual money. Wow, that's pretty good, though. 10% income from all of our buildings for 6 turns, and a Razor Standard, which is, like, totally fine. As you approached the wreckage, a galleon of undead pirates appeared in a cloud of broadside guns and hissing black powder weapons, seeking to claim the sunken ship's treasure for themselves. After defeating the undead freebooters, you looted their galleon's coffers, before sailing on to claim the salvage from the ship for yourself. Okay, yeah, that was definitely worth the effort. Let's sail back to shallower waters. We do not want to end our turn out there again. Hey, yeah, we just land on Phyrus and get some normal replenishment going. So do we want to take... where is it? Is it Skirmisher? It's Swift Rider. Do we want to take this first before the Saurus thing? An increase in missile damage... Yeah, an increase in missile damage is pretty significant, especially given that the missiles explode. Since they're doing damage to a bunch of people. Let's take Swift Rider first. We'll come back and get Proud Warrior afterward. We do have to spend 6 points in that box, remember, before we can move on. Alright, just head home. Okay, Yarrick needs to get to Xandri. So this is probably not the turn where we're spending the movement right either. Okay, actually the dwarves are already here and currently laying siege to the settlement under Misty Mountains, so maybe I don't have to come up here at all. How strong is that army? Ooh, it's not really that powerful. Then again, the armies that they're bringing in to run them off are also not really that powerful. This is a lot of very weak units. Maybe we ought to head in that direction, you know, just like make it obvious that we're willing to help. Taking attrition here. Oh, the vampire corruption here is super high because of all the vampires, you know? We definitely don't need this building here. We'll install a growth building to help us get to the point where we could build a garrison. So do I want to just push Lamia instead, maybe? They might have that under control. Tell you what we'll do. We'll split the difference. We'll just move to, like, right there. Okay, interesting. So the Court of Liberis has 2 full stacks over here in raid mode, but they're absolutely terrible armies. Lamia has a much better army in place. Crypt Horrors are actually like reasonably good fighters. They have some bats, which are terrible, some direwolves, which are terrible, some black knights, which are actually pretty powerful cavalry units. They have themselves a corpse cart, which has an aura on it that makes all the units around it better. What does their garrison look like? Can we see it from here? We can indeed. Crypt Horrors. So Vargeists are actual flying melee units, like good flying infantry. So you have to be careful about that, because I bet they tear through a bunch of pterodons real quickly. And Crypt Ghouls, Graveguard with big old weapons, some ethereal cairn wraiths. This is not the most dangerous garrison we could face. And one thing that is always going to be a big problem for vampire armies when fighting us is that vampire armies do not get access to ranged units. So they're going to be really, really bad at fighting the pterodons. I think threatening Lamia is our next smartest play. It's also worth noting Lamia is a 10 slot settlement, and it may provide us a unique building chain, and there are some gemstones in there. Yeah, that's what we're going for. We could pop the movement thing and go over there and attack this turn. We are in perfect health, and it's not going to be the case. Like, we're not going to get any reinforcement over here. Yeah, we could just move all the way in and go for it. Totally catch them by surprise. Did they have any other enemies aside from the Court of Liberis? No, they do not. Well, the dwarves still might like us might like it if we remove them, just because dwarves and vampires traditionally do not get along. Oh, right. I was like, why are our relations suddenly so bad? It's because I had the vampires still selected. Okay, we're trending toward neutral. They don't like the fact that we have that treaty with Tilia. It's not like a big deal. They just think it's gross. Yeah, and that would give our other armies the ability to move into better positions right away. Let's do it. Let's commit this. We're going to use this pretty much every time it comes off cooldown. It's so, so powerful. Alright, hold on. Let's end the turn with that move. It's not going to ask us to take control of any of our guys and move them again, so we had to remember to do everybody manually here. I just want to get to friendly territory up on the beach here. Yeah, and then hang out for a turn. While I'm thinking about it, we should go over here and make sure that he's equipped with stuff. So, armor, melee attack, and melee defense up, I think is the way we... Oh no, Gambler's Armor. Yeah, minus 10% damage dealt. That's pretty good. We could give him the Shrieking Blade. He already... No, he does not cause fear, actually. Yeah, I'd way rather he have the Shrieking Blade than have it on Roxburgh, who never uses it because he's always in the sky. Luckstone seems like a pretty good way to go. We don't really have a lot of enchanted items, and they're not really relevant to him anyway. And then let's grab a Fan Waver. Absolutely. Plus 10% research for the entire faction, and then like public order +2 in his province is not great. We are not going to be using a lot of defensive armies, I feel like. Let's throw the Razor Standard on. It's going to be a lot better than the Scarecrow banner, that's for sure. Actually, let's replace this with something else. Yeah, even just like a charge bonus improvement to our dinosaur or something. Probably get better use out of that. Okay, so next turn we'll be in pretty good shape. We can this can be the support army. It can be Yarrick, who actually leads. That way we get to use Lord Croak more during the battle. It resets for all of our characters, right? Yeah, everybody gets to move again. Actually, the best way to do this is going to be to go to the Lords and Heroes menu. I'm not sure that he's actually needed over here anymore. I guess we should maintain vision of this so that we know what happens. We know if we have to come up here and fix things. Okay, then it's Tic-Tac-Toe time. I think we can do this. Hold on, let me think about this again. They have 1 unit of bats, and was it 2 units of Vargeists? 3 units of Vargeists. We do have our Ripperdactyl Riders plus Tic-Tac-Toe to actually fight in the sky. And while Tic-Tac-Toe is nothing special as a ground unit, units that can fly are generally way worse at combat than other units. You can see these guys, I think of them as being pretty good flying melee fighters. They have 24 melee defense. They're actually not very good units. It's just that the relative scale is different in the sky. Tic-Tac-Toe will be able to make his presence known. And there's very little consequence if we lose this battle. Okay, obviously it's a lightning strike, because why would it ever not be a lightning strike? They have a lot of units, though. I will say that. And of course, we do have to watch out for the walls. What is the map actually going to look like? They do have the ranged attack from their towers, and there's no place where we can escape them. Okay, maybe I'm overcommitting here. That's possible. We have some very good units. We have a caster who has Arcane Conduit and actually has very good spells. In particular, I'm expecting that Flock of Doom to be pretty useful against tightly packed undead units, although they don't have a lot of like the zombie and skeleton type units. These crypt horror guys are a lot larger and smaller in number, so maybe we won't want to do that. Well, whatever. We'll kill the we'll start by trying to kill the vampires with amber spears and rockspurs, blowgun, and then we'll figure it out from there. Okay, that's terrible. Can I please gamble for a slightly better starting value? Nope. Okay, well the good news is we only lost a single point. So I think we're going to do the same thing here that we've done the last couple of times and line up the flying units on one side. I am noticing that there's an area over here that we could hide in. It would be pretty safe, and unlike with most factions, we're not going to see any ranged fire on our characters from being over there. I think that's probably where we want to set up a lot of our ground units. You get near here. We're just going to run forward into that little gap and be perfectly safe there because they can't shoot us. Yeah, maybe I'm overcommitting here. This is, I will say, a pretty aggressive campaign-level move that we made. So, we could just fly straight in and fight their flyers, but I think I'd rather just focus on stuff out here and let them come out to us. Oh, first of all, let's make sure we're hitting this on cooldown. And we just want to get inside the city, right? We'll figure everything else out once we're inside the city, because we have the opportunity to be a little bit more careful here. And I'm really not too worried about the Vargeists. Man, it is pretty cool that their towers shoot giant spinning skulls. That's pretty neat. Okay, so we definitely want to work over the Lord of the Garrison as quickly as possible. We took a little bit of fire as we came in. It wasn't too bad. So do we want to just roll in here and fight these guys? I kind of think we do. The Fellbats, yeah, the Fellbats are like absolutely ignorable. And the Vargeists are grouped up tightly enough. Let's get you and you on this. These guys are grouped up tightly enough that I bet the Fire Leech Bolas will actually be pretty effective against them. So 1 unit of Fire Leech Bolas, alright, these guys, for each of you, and 1 unit of normal Pterodon Riders for each of you. Let's just clear these dudes out real fast. And I'm just actually going to completely ignore the Fellbats. I'm so not worried about them. And then we can just kill their lord. Oh, I don't think I actually told these guys to come forward. Okay, so first things first, Tic-Tac-Toe, and buff stats on all the flyers. We actually have some pretty good area buff type stuff now. We're going to want to get a little closer before I use the helm, because it really does not affect a very large area. This does, though. Oh, got a number of the Vargeists with that. And then this is probably an okay time for the crows. I'm gonna overcast these crows for the extended duration. This will do some good damage. Okay, I'm expecting us to win this. This fight in the air is going to be kind of hard to read, but I'm expecting us to win it pretty quickly. You can see we've already killed the bats effectively. I get the Ripperdactyl Riders over to here. I'm a little worried about causing a rampage. I think we're going to try to avoid doing that because I don't know whether they will consider targets on the ground to be legal rampage targets. If they rampage, it might cause them to land, is my concern. Trying to keep the ranged units from engaging in melee too much. You can see the salamanders over there shooting fire up at the walls. That's pretty handy. These Ripperdactyl guys, I don't know, man. They don't seem great. We could lower melee attack for all their flyers as well. Just about killed. A little hard to read what's happening in air-to-air combat, unfortunately. Guys can fall back. Alright, let's start by cutting the head off the snake here, so to speak. Yeah, the Ripperdactyl Riders have taken a lot more damage than I was hoping. I was kind of hoping that our ranged air would give us enough of an advantage that we wouldn't take a lot of hits here. Harder to pin enemies down in the air, though, so you can't rely on a lord to keep nearby people safe in the same way that they do on the ground. All right, let's get to work on the vampire. I want this guy dead. So you and also we're gonna throw out a quick amber spear. And what do we want the rest of the units to do? I don't really want to focus the Fire Leech Bolas on a single guy. We gotta figure out, like, who do we think is going to be the best target for Fire Leech Bola nonsense? The Crypt Ghouls are better fighters than some of the undead units, and they're still pretty densely packed. Oh man, their Cairn Wraiths are the ones taking all of the salamander fire. That's actually excellent. Because those guys, being resistant to physical damage, would have been a real pain in the ass for us to fight with the rest of our characters. Yeah, I guess let's work on the Crypt Ghouls first. Let's have you two come back. So one of you can work on each of those units, and you can work on this one. And then I think I might have the normal Pterodon Riders just help with the Vampire Lord. I'd really love for there not to be a Vampire Lord here anymore. And I'm not in any big hurry to drop the rocks. Wow, good hit, Jesus. Yeah, he's had better days, you can tell. Yeah, I guess the next most sensible rock target is let's go throw a rock down on the other unit of Cairn Wraiths. To try to keep an eye on how things are going with their lord, we definitely want to make sure we're clicking back over here to hit Arcane Conduit every time it comes up. He's draining pretty quickly. We'll have him down soon. This is expending our Salamander's ammo pretty quickly, but I'm not expecting them to be a huge important part of this fight. You know, in part because there's not a ton of dangerous monsters. The Crypt Horrors are large, and so they will be effective against the Crypt Horrors, but also, as much as Crypt Horrors are good at killing, they're not very good at surviving. I'm not thinking we're going to have a problem with them. See if we can hit him with the lightning bolt before he gets back up. Yes, that actually really worked. Holy crap. Okay, once he's down, they do still have a couple of other characters remaining. How are all of the explosions going? Oh, the Crypticals keep running into other units. So the explosions are affecting larger groups of people. That's lovely. Okay, the enemy lord is wounded. Let's grab Skink Chief and the normal riders and have them come over here and work some of these other characters over. So they have a Necromancer. I'd love to be rid of him. And they also have a... They had another character, didn't they? They have a Vampire of Death, but that's a hero vampire, not a lord vampire. Still dangerous. Still a spellcaster. Definitely something we have to think about. At this point, though, they don't have anybody on the walls anymore. I think I'm going to go kick the gate in. This seems like an okay time to do that. And we can come through and dinosaur them up pretty good. Yeah, the exploding guys are doing some fine work. Actually doing a lot of damage to this guy very quickly. I mean, as you might imagine, Necromancers are not particularly hardy. I think he is going to be a little bit more magic resistant, probably, than a lot of characters, so I don't think I'm going to spend... I'm not going to spend Spear on him. Let's take our positions. Oh, we have these Cold One Riders who, I don't know, just, like, get over here. Yep, the Necromancer is almost dead already. Okay, bad news. We are running out of ammo. And the Vampire is definitely going to be tougher. Well, the Vampire is getting an Amber Spear. That's happening for sure. You guys can just get back over here since you have no ammo and can't actually fight. You can see they're casting on us. They're trying to kill us with their vampires' remaining magics. Let's get an Amber Spear out, and if we get a knockdown with it, I'm going to drop the Rod of the Storm on him. Are you casting it? I see that it has become grayed out, but it kind of feels like you're not actually casting it. Nope, he just didn't feel that it was important to do that. Okay, well. Let's see if she'll just stand there and catch. Nope. We do still have the Manticores available too. We have 2 charges of get a free Manticore. And I guess he can just like drop some... He can drop his bomb while we're waiting here. And these guys are Graveguard. They're a reasonable bomb target. Okay. No longer on cooldown. Let's try this again. Okay, I think we are going to be successful in killing their remaining character. And then they have no bonus leadership effects left once we've done that. Make sure I'm continuing to add stuff to the pool. Oh. They have regained control of this tower. Okay, the guys who are over here in a position where that could be a problem, just move over very slightly. Who has explosions left? These cairn wraiths. They could be less of a problem. Make them less of a problem. Have the source units just charge right through, or, I mean, they're kind of, it seems like they're content to let me just shoot salamander fire at them. Ah, they're getting up on the walls. They're gonna start treating this like an actual siege. I guess we'd better get inside and kill them all. Oh, sorry, I was trying to select these guys. Salamanders should just press way up against the wall, try to get as thin against the wall as possible so as not to eat tower fire. Million skinks, I definitely want to get inside. Wow, that is... How is that? There we go. Do something like that. Sometimes, giving orders near walls is just very strange. All right, I think we told everybody to go in. He can, of course, get in here and do this, and then let's keep an eye on that vampire. I want to make sure we're using our amber spears as quickly and effectively as possible. Every moment this vampire is alive is another spell cast that we are suffering. Yeah, our big dumb plan has been pretty effective here. We have no other real use for this Rod of the Storm, so... One more time, let's see if we can catch a hero with it. Oh, she's just standing there. Nope, she figured it out. Okay, I did a little bit of damage. So it looks to me like it is not going to be necessary to cast Amber Spear again. Okay, cool. They have no remaining characters, no magic, no ranged anything anymore. We can start working on this corpse cart next with the remaining people who have ranged ammunition. That thing probably has some magic resist, right? Let's see. Missile resistance. Okay, it has negative fire resist. It doesn't actually say that it has magic resistance anywhere. I'm going to go ahead and give it an Amber Spear. This is a good spell. Yeah, it's a pretty alright spell. Okay, Graveguard are having some success. Try to get the cavalry units away from them. And we do have to watch the Carnosaur because these are great weapon Graveguard. These guys are specifically good at fighting large units. In fact, I'm going to have our hero come over here and, first of all, get closer for the buff, and secondly, drop a nice big rock on them. Try to make sure we're not going to hit the Carnosaur with it. Okay. So where is... Can we move Roxburgh over to a place where he's able to shoot at that thing while still being in range to distribute his buffs? See, their leadership is breaking. The red-crested skinks are actually doing a pretty good job of hacking through their armor and keeping them distracted so that the dinosaur gets to just jump up and down on them. Get over here and give everybody lots of melee defense and armor. Stop getting hit. Okay, are those cairn wraiths just about dead? They are, in fact, dead. Well, we've dealt with a lot of stuff. They still have a significant number of units, but you know what we still have a significant number of is rocks to drop from the sky on them. Okay, so they don't really have much left over here anymore. I just want to get into a position where we can bring the salamanders in and set them up safely without them being in melee. I think we have a moment here. Wow, really? That's how you guys want to interpret that setup order? There we go. That's something a little bit closer to what I'm indicating. Okay, let's figure out what we want to do with the rocks. Almost all of our flying guys are still alive. We've taken some significant hit point losses, but not that many figures have died. I think the next most dangerous thing is probably the Black Knights. There are units that will take more damage from the rocks than the Black Knights, but I don't know that there's anything I'm more worried about. Where are these guys? Okay, they're coming. That said, dropping rocks on Graveguard that have a bunch of other stuff interspersed is probably an okay way to go. Don't attack, just get in the air over them. Okay, that's not bad. You gotta be very careful about clicking in a way that reads as an attack order at this point, because nobody has any ammo left. Love it if they didn't have a corpse cart anymore. That would just be wonderful. How about over here? These next guys. Going to get to a point here pretty soon where there's no reason to keep a lot of our flying units within the walls anymore. I mean, I certainly don't want to have them drop in and engage in melee. Although it is worth noting, I believe this is this faction's only settlement. So when we win this battle, it's not like we have to worry about reprisals or anything. Yeah, I'm hoping that we can just break them pretty soon. They don't have a lot of hope left, but they're so numerous that they're not yet feeling defeated. Let's make sure we try to get some of these Graveguard over here with this set of rocks. Now remember, we are very, very good at killing Black Knights with our 2 units of Sauruses. They're both specialized in anti-large. So even though there's going to be a lot of Black Knights alive at the end of this process, I think we have good plans for them. I think at this point, let's just move these guys outside the walls so that we're not... maybe not outside the wall. Just in case they get the bright idea to run something up here. Okay. Apparently the salamanders are fighting a thing by themselves. Hey guys, we're standing around watching that happen. Maybe help out. And we can throw up our buff. It has a 90-second cooldown. We can just have it whenever we want it. Keep the Colossodon hunters nearby in case we do want them to drop down on something. I absolutely did not ever tell those guys to get outside the walls. Where's my Carnosaur? He could be over here. I know these guys have spears, but they're also just skeletons. They should not be coming in piecemeal at us, obviously. Is that Roxburgh? Yep. Alright, Roxburgh. Well done, man. You did what you could. Let's go drop that rock. Okay, that did some damage. I think we're just about out of rocks, right? Yeah, we've actually used everybody's now. Alright, phase 2, the part where we actually fight them, as though we were an army. I will say, we've seen here from these vampire units the slowest crumbling I've ever seen. They get down into that state where they're constantly losing health, and they just live that way forever. Alright, so we have some normal Graveguard coming in along this flank. Let's move the blockers up. The Red-Crested Skinks have apparently done some pretty good work so far. They could hold these guys in place if they had to. Alright. Now, There we go. Get some good cold one charges in. This isn't about dealing damage, it's just about breaking enemy leadership. Okay, here comes some knights. So to be pretty careful about how we tell the salamanders to attack, because the ground in here is very uneven, and I don't want the salamanders to move forward too much. You guys just block the street. You guys come back and be ready to block the street if it should become suddenly necessary. So they have 1, 2, 3, 4 units of Black Knights, which I'm definitely worried about. Carnosaur needs to stay with these guys. I might even have the Legion of Chakwa come up a little bit. I don't want them to be like dead center in front of the salamanders because I'm worried about blocking their shot. Yeah, and then it's mostly infantry after that. Some big monstrous infantry, but infantry who we are just fine at dealing with. Let's make sure that we have some poison on both sides. Make sure that we have that available. Okay. Our skink chief over here. Right, unfortunately, those slowly dying Graveguard are probably going to do a pretty good job at blocking. Okay, the Black Knights charged right up to the Salamanders and then just turned around. They decided they had made a grave error. So we have a couple of buffs like that we can just use very frequently. Oh, and now they're going to charge the spears. This is where their head's at now. Actually, chill out for a second. Don't fire at will for a moment. Don't do any shooting. Okay, these dire wolves are an absolute non-threat. Let's make sure everybody's staying tough. So they have some Graveguard with great weapons. These are one of the few units left that I'm like really worried about dealing a significant amount of damage to us. For some reason I can't draw formation on the ground. Yeah, there we go. Weird. Sometimes it just doesn't let you draw formations on the ground. Where is Roxburgh? Let's make sure he's close. Okay, it looks like they're starting to think this is last stand time. Let's make sure that the salamanders are in a good position here to actually kill stuff. We're running out of salamander fire. What I really want is to try to inch up enough for them to get over here. But I guess that's I think we've kind of hit the end of the part where we safely inch forward. Let's try to get you guys over here, you guys up. We need to keep the poison coming, and the red-crested skinks just need to be in a position where they can jump people once the blood has started flowing. And I'm hoping not to have to use our flying units. They are still kind of milling around awkwardly, which I really appreciate. Oh, they accidentally charged really deep, and now they're not going to be able to pull out, so those guys are dead. You over here, make sure we are doing buffs and debuffs. These crypt horrors, I mean, they're big dudes, and they have big scary weapons, and they poison, I think. They're not terrible units, but Saurus spears are so good at fighting monstrous infantry. We have to be a little bit careful with our dinosaurs. Right, here we go. This is what we wanted. So this will be the time when we want to think about dropping another one of these curses. Minus 26 melee attack is a pretty huge debuff. It's going to make it very, very difficult for them to kill us. Unfortunately, it's very expensive. We're not going to get to do a whole lot more. This is probably the last spell we cast. We could Flock of Doom. I'm a little worried about it not doing a ton of damage to each of these individual figures, and because this is such a small number of total units, I think I'd rather debuff them and rely on our units to be able to do the combat. They have one unit of great weapons on this side, and that's it, right? Yeah, as far as stuff that's going to do extra damage to the cold ones. I think our chameleon skinks are taking melee damage from the cryptors, which is actually 100% fine. That's a good place for their damage to be focused. You can see the panic, the run forward, and then an immediate drop in leadership. They still have a completely full health unit of Black Knights over there. How those guys get applied is going to have a big effect on this battle. Alright, go get him. Make sure the poison's staying close. Make sure that we are casting all of our buffs and debuffs as they come off cooldowns. We have 26 seconds left on those. Tiktaq'to still has his available. Alright. I feel a little bit bad about this. Good luck, everybody. We are definitely turning Fire at Will back on for the Salamanders. And I think that if these guys were ever going to help out again, this is the moment. I think actually over here makes the most sense. Just fall in on the backside of this force. Yeah, we're never going to get enough magic to cast again. And Tiktaq'to himself can join in here and drop on the back of those guys. I would love it if we could get the skinks out to the side here, not because I'm worried about our shots getting blocked, but just because we do extra leadership damage when we shoot into the enemy's back. Hey, get down there, man, fight. He won't. There we go. And a hell of a time getting him to actually descend. And Roxburgh can also actually fight a little bit at least. Alright, keep those buffs strong. You guys should probably not be all the way in. I think I'm just going to let our Cold One Riders... well, you know what? We can probably fall back here. We'll probably be okay. I was thinking they seem to be holding this side pretty well by themselves, or maybe just like let them do that until they die. But I suppose we can try to keep them alive. And the enemy is very broken right now. They don't have a lot left, and at some point it's going to be our Carnosaur alone against a number of units that the Carnosaur can absolutely defeat by himself. Alright, buddy, get over here. Never mind, they're going to crumble before it becomes an issue. Yeah, I think that went pretty well for a battle where we were very severely outnumbered and that we decided to do at, like, the last moment. 312 losses, no actual units down. The, what's their name called? The Pok-Hopak cohort got close. Yeah, overall, pretty good outcome there. So we got ourselves a world capital, 10-slot settlement, and immediately wiped out, or completely wiped out this faction, I believe. And probably, like, the Court of Liberus is going to love us for this. Probably the dwarves will have some positive feelings about it as well. And now we have a good base of operations to launch an attack on Clan Moors from, in case the dwarves fail to finish them off, and I do think that there is a non-zero chance that will occur. Do we want to loot and occupy? We could sack the place. Thing is, I don't really want to downgrade it much. And we're not exactly in dire straits on money anymore. I think I'm just going to occupy it to do the least possible damage to it. Now let's loot and occupy. We'll split the difference here. Get 13,000. Ooh, a Talisman of Preservation. That's a pretty good find. Okay, so we gotta repair this, obviously. Then what do we actually want down here? I don't think there's a lot of value in having this be a recruitment province. It's so tucked away from everything. So I think we're gonna go ahead and pull down all of the recruitment buildings. We're gonna make this a place where we probably build all of the purple stuff, though. Yeah, go ahead and repair that. We can keep the Grand Plaza for the moment. Let's tear this out as well. Definitely get me a gemstone mine. And is this one of those things where the special building is just... Yeah, it's just the settlement itself. That's a shame, because it's not even all that good. Ah well. Can't complain too much about 10 slots. So we know we still need Star Chambers. We're never going to get Liberis. Unless, I guess, is that their only settlement? Sorry. If we were to turn on them and take Liberis, would it immediately put an end to that war? Because we could. That is their only settlement. We are their trusted friends. I don't know. It probably doesn't hurt us that much to let them stay in charge of it. I was just thinking, you know, we could make a pretty good amount of money off of this region if we owned it all. Maybe we'll do that. I don't know. Okay. So do the dwarves have any feelings about the thing we just did? Yeah, okay. 24 points of approval from our military actions against the Silver Host. And Tiktaq'to is very rapidly approaching max level. Is his army going to completely recover? Not completely. You know what, we'll go ahead and take another point of replenishment then. Okay, that's close. So if we don't have another, like, actually important building to build here, I guess just, like, make a money building? Well, probably it's worth putting up a geomantic pylon first. Percentage increases to the money output of the region are going to be pretty good in a place where we have gemstones. Okay, well that was a good use of our ability. A good use of our right. Oh yeah, definitely do this. Let's get these capped out. Tiktaq'to is very close to being tier 5. Like, what do we actually want to do here? I guess I demolished that growth building, but I don't really have a good plan for what I would put in its place. I guess we'll, like, build an altar of Sotek. Try to bump up our post-battle loot, because we make a lot of money off of that. We do that sometime soon. We can build one of these right now. Where else are there financial upgrades to place? Some of these cities have to have financial buildings that are only tier 1, right? Yeah, here we go. Okay, let's run one more sequence of enemy turns. We actually did use all of everybody's movement. Let's run one more cycle of enemy turns here, and then we can call it. I think that was pretty productive, and, like, Sartosa is definitely on the menu for next episode. I think we're probably, like, 2 turns out from attacking Sartosa, especially if it's still empty when we get back over there. I don't know where their army is, but they're not going to have very long to respond to the thing we're going to do. It is really nice to have some units that have siege attacker, so that you can attack settlements immediately. And yep, the dwarves fail to deal with Misty Mountain. Alright, I'll come over there and burn it down myself, I guess. Oh, or maybe the Tomb Kings will handle it. I can't imagine what else they might be doing. They're certainly not running over to declare war on the dwarves. Oh, I was hoping he was going to just keep pursuing these 2 incredibly weak Skaven armies all the way down the pass. The main Greenskin faction has now confederated, I believe, all except for the Top Knots, all of the orc factions that start in this area of the world. So they're probably pretty powerful wherever they are. I imagine we're going to see a lot of them, like, in this Badland area outside the mountains. That's going to be a real problem for us in a little while when we actually get over there. Well, maybe it will be. It's possible that if the dwarves are willing to play nice by then, we might be able to just go through the mountains on our way north and completely ignore all that Badland nonsense. Because it'll kind of depend on how things go with us claiming the southern Badlands. It's possible that the right version of the strategy here is to not take the southern Badlands for quite a while. Maybe make that the last objective we fulfill. Because if the Top-Knots are inclined to leave us alone, well, I guess the danger there is that once the dwarves down here run out of Skaven to fight, they might go and take the southern Badlands over themselves, and then if they're not willing to make an alliance with us, it could be a real pain to get a hold of that stuff. I don't really want to have to go to war with the main dwarf faction. Then again, like I'm saying, if it's the very last objective, if we can just go to war long enough to take the province and then tap out of the game, that wouldn't be so bad. That sounds pretty survivable. Alright, let's see exactly how many turns worth of movement this looks like. Hey, that's pretty good. Alright, we're getting our income back up to a good place. Carry out a successful assassination attempt against this dude to get a relic sword. Snickage. Is he in this? Wait, where is he? It's showing me there's not a character here. Is there? Am I missing it? Because in order to perform an assassination attempt, it must be a hero that we're talking about. But I just I don't see a hero in the location that it's steadying the camera in. I guess maybe he's in the garrison? No, I do not have the option to damage anybody in that garrison. Huh. Well, I mean, a relic sword's not a very good piece of loot, so if this mission spawned bugged, that's not a big deal. Okay, like I was saying, how many turns of movement are we talking about here? Okay, it might be a little bit more, because approaching Sartosa is kind of awkward. There is actually a little bit of beach here, and we could land next to it, but it might be easier for coordination for us to land and then approach it from the north across the little land bridge. But yeah, definitely happening next episode. We're looking at like 2 or 3 turns of movement. So, that is going to be it for us for today. Thank you all so much for watching. Come back next time, tomorrow, maybe a little bit earlier in the day, to see if we can add one more world capital to our growing list. And we'll see you then.